So let's go back and talk about the next game on the list for the Game Awards. Next up, we have Doom: The Dark Ages. Full disclosure, I did work on Doom: The Dark Ages, so just as a heads up, I did consult on that. It was one thing that I was very, very proud of, and I just wanted to be able to clarify that before I get started. Doom: The Dark Ages is designed to be approachable and accessible, allowing as many people as possible to become the Doom Slayer and wage a medieval war against hell. Combat and difficulty is highly configurable with a wide range of modifiers, including game speed in fine-grained increments from 50% to 150%, enemy projectile speed, parry window, and day's duration, combined with assists like shield throw, seeking, auto sprint, enhanced targeting, and empowered attacks. Visual accessibility was also a priority for id Software, with gameplay high contrast settings that allow configurable degrees of environment desaturation and color overlays. It provides individual hue and opacity options for enemy, hazard, interactable pickup, attack, shield breakable, and enemy leaders and parryable attacks. This works together with settings for parry recolor, text scale, HUD scale, high contrast HUD, pop-up magnification, configurable reticle to create a more accessible experience for low vision players. There's also audio visualization, such showing direction and type of incoming attacks, cinematics intentionally designed for important sounds to originate from on-screen sources, a range of motion sickness toggles, and much more, pushing accessibility of the Doom franchise to new heights. Now, what did Doom have that other games did not? And that I would actually say it had a much more wider range of FPS accessible gameplay than even Atomfall did. I will say that there are differences. Doom does not have the same kind of like FPS clicking sounds or audio cues to be able to know when their player is locking onto an enemy like Atomfall does, but it does sort of elevate the accessibility of Doom in a way that hasn't been done in franchise history going back 30 years. What I love about what this game does is two main things. Is the difficulty of Doom. You can make it extremely difficult, or even more difficult than before, or you can be able to make it as casual of a gameplay experience as possible. But you can also augment that with its other settings to augment the difficulty. When they said when the article mentioned gameplay speed, if you play around with the gameplay speed, you can actually be able to make it slower for allowing disabled players to have more reaction time in order to be able to find enemies, shoot them, or be able to dodge away from enemies, or even parrying enemy projectiles, which you can adjust that parry window as well to even make it more customizable. But what you can also do is you can actually even increase the speed of the game itself, so it makes it even faster than default, and that could even add more difficulty to you. So if you prefer maybe the game speed to be a little bit more faster than normal, but you would maybe like the enemy projectiles to be a little bit slower, so that way you can be able to see them in time, you can be able to adjust that. That is just one example of many of the options you can be able to adjust within the difficulty. And it's the first time that Doom has ever done this. It's the first time that Doom, even in the modern reboots of Doom from 2016 forward, has had this much accessibility in the game. And also as well, the high contrast modes, like we mentioned, allowed me to be able to play and be able to see what was going on, including it highlighted enemies, allies, and also interactable objects, including I can change the enemy projectile effects for so that way you can be able to find the specifically parryable attack, so that you can be able to dodge out of the way, to be able to make it and find that parryable attack to be able to hit the enemy back with that attack. So you can be able to adjust the colors of that as well for all of that. So in my gameplay, I changed like the enemy color to pink to be able to make it a little bit easier for me to see, and then interactables as yellow and allies as blue, essentially, because I found the red was a little too not as bright enough, but you can be able to adjust the brightness of those colors as well. And then I had a ton of other options, like being able to increase the HUD size of all the things within the HUD, increasing the text size, including even the boxes, the tooltip boxes that normally would be really small. They actually increased the font size of those, which I found to be very helpful. It's not necessarily the thing that innovates the most, but it is something that is very great for me to be able to play. And the reason why it innovated for accessibility is, again, innovating in FPS, much like Atomfall, in trying to be able to make this game more as accessible as possible. It still had a long way to go. There's a lot of areas of improvement, but it definitely added a lot of customization to create the best Doom experience that you want to be able to play. And that is why it is nominated for within this category.